Hey there, hey, it's Leah Janae, and welcome back or welcome to my channel.
My channel.
This is not your channel.
Who are
Today,
you today?
shut up. Today, I have my lovely husband joining me, and our baby girl, Pickles. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to my channel. It's so great to have you today.
I will turn this off.
Why?
It's not your channel.
That's not nice. It's okay. She thinks it's her channel. I let her keep
It's
thinking.
literally called the Leah Janae.
It is?
Yes.
That's not my name. That's not my name.
Okay, so he has no idea what we are talking about today. But I do. So let's get into it. Okay, baby. So we are going to talk to the people about what we just did in the month of January.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
So, tell them, what did we do?
Well, we flew kites and we took a trip to Michigan and no, I'm just kidding. We didn't do that stuff. Who flies kites in January in Chicago?
Mm-hmm. A crazy person.
We did consecration and fasting, and some person decided to do the Daniel fast for the fasting.
Some person.
I don't know whose decision that was,
Mm.
but Pickles, you made that decision. Pickles, you ate salmon food all month. You cheated.
You cheated.
Well, we didn't cheat. She decided to cheat after she set us up for this.
That's funny. So yeah, we did the Daniel fast, but we did it for 21 days. I know some people do it for 10 because Daniel fasted for 10. But we did it for 21 days. And so if you don't know what a Daniel fast is, a little explanation, because I didn't know what it was. But so you're basically on a vegan diet, not a vegetarian diet, a vegan diet. You can have any animal byproducts at all. So no like cheese, no eggs, no dairy, none of that. And you can't have any processed foods. So like flour, like white flour or white rice because it's bleached. You can't have that, and you can't have fried foods. And you can't have any sugar.
No sweeteners.
No sweeteners. So no honey, no agave nectar, no
Sucralose.
yeah, no sweet and low, none of it at all whatsoever. Not a single bit.
No carbs, no yeast. So.
Oh yeah, no pasta. Yeah.
No pasta. Yeah.
No. Oh yeah, no yeast. So no bread at all. You have unleavened bread, but no bread.
Yeah. No crackers.
No.
Well, your traditional crackers.
Yeah, like saltines and stuff. You can't have that. Yeah. So.
In other words, you can eat air.
And
air and water.
Leaves. A lot of leaves.
Leaves.
Yeah, you have fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Yeah. So, how, baby, did you feel going into the fast? Well, let me say this. I knew I wanted to consecrate because I consecrate every January. I knew I wanted to do a fast because I do a fast every January. He wanted to do a fast because he does a fast. And he wanted to consecrate. So we already knew that this was going to be the month of consecration. We just didn't have what we were doing decided. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to do no food from midnight until 3. And then I came home and he was like, oh, I'm doing the Daniel fast. And I was like, oh, so we're doing the Daniel fast. And he's like, no, you don't have to do it. I'm doing it. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a supportive wife. And we are a team. So I'm going to do the Daniel fast with you.
And Pickles walked away and said, y'all two on your own.
I'm going to eat my salmon.
You better put that salmon in that bowl.
I'm going to eat my salmon. So, anyway, back to the question. How did you feel going into it?
I actually felt like it was going to be really hard. I did not think that I was going to make it the entire time. Both of us also added some extra things on top of it. So I just knew that without the extra things that it was going to make the food part harder. So yeah, going into it, I was not thinking, I was in my mind determined that I was going to make it, but didn't think that I was.
Yeah. For me, going into it, I was terrified. I've heard of the Daniel fast for years, and I have avoided it for years. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I was like, oh no, like, that is not for me. Like, that is for the extreme, like, sanctified folk, and I don't want any parts. Like, like, I'm not there yet. Like, spiritually, I'm not strong enough for that. And also, I will add a like more natural aspect of it. Like, I don't hold weight well, and so I know, like, medically, my doctor has been like trying to get me to keep my weight, and so for a little bit, like, my weight dropped really hard, and then we were trying to get it back up, and then we got it back up, and we were trying to sustain it. So I was like, oh, I can't do the extreme fasts because I need to maintain my weight. And so, yeah, so going into it, I was terrified, but I was like kind of excited because it gave me an opportunity to support my husband in a different way. Like, I may support him, you know, in his business or things like that, but I was able to support him spiritually more than just like prayer or things like that. Like, I was able to really like I was able to really like have his back, you know. And I don't know how you feel, but like you said, you were worried, like you didn't think you would make it all the way through. I think that it would have been much harder for you to make it through had I not been doing it with you. Because the fast I was doing was literally just no food from midnight until 3. And I could eat whatever I wanted to eat. So if we're in the same household and I'm over here slobbing on, look like smashing an Italian beef, and my husband's over here eating his green beans, like, it's just not even, it just wasn't even a fair situation. So, and I recognize that. So I was excited to partner with him, but I was terrified to do it. Yeah. How did you feel in it while we were in it?
Okay, so going back even on the start of it, I also felt like I was kind of sad, I guess, about, like, it was, and that's not the right term, but it's like thinking in my head of all the restrictions, and you focus a lot on all these restrictions that you have, and then it's like, I'm not going to be able to eat anything. I will have raw spinach and an apple every single day, and that's all I can eat, and then drink water and just be sad. So, like, going into it, that was my thinking and my focus.
Definitely devastated.
Yeah. So, but once in it, like, I took the first trip to the grocery store on, like, the first day, and I have never read so many labels in my life at the grocery store. I'm looking for labels on the apples. Like, like, just to make sure.
What added preservatives does this apple
you got
have?
added sweeteners on this apple. What pesticides you use? I can't trust this farm. Pepperidge Farm, you also made chickens. You didn't put the apples in the chicken coop.
You done injected chicken fat into the apples.
So it's like, So I'm looking at all these labels and whatnot and realizing that, side note, fat-free items or low-fat items, they add sugar to it. Just so you know. But once I got over that hump and realized the things that could be eaten, and we started to experiment with certain things and create our own foods and meals and whatnot, it became so much better. It was still complicated because you going to work, both of us were going to work, people around us are eating Chick-fil-A, hot chocolate.
Oh gosh,
I'll
say that story. I'll tell that story.
But yeah, and the Raising Cane's opened next door to our office. The second week of our fast, everybody from our office had been counting down the days, was so excited to go. So it's like, oh, Alan is the only one that can't participate in the Raising Cane's adventure. And so it's like, so that made it a little tough, but like she said, her support during it and being on the same page with her through it made it so great, and it drew us closer together through the experience. Naturally, in the sense that we were trying to figure things out together, but also spiritually in the conversations that we had, and that's also because of the extra things that we decided to add onto the fast and separated ourselves from, and caused us to be more inclined to have spiritual conversations or conversations based around the different spiritual things that we have been reading or watching. So. It drew us closer in that sense as well.
Definitely. And not to say we just don't ever have those conversations, but I think that we had them more frequently, and they were going more in depth than what they may have gone before. I mean, we would talk about some deep stuff, but then it was kind of like, all right, we're done. Like, move on, next conversation. Whereas this time it was like the conversations would like linger into other days and kind of like, okay, so wait, I thought about this, so let's talk about that, things like that. And yeah, so for me, during it was interesting. Some days were harder than others. I work currently I work 2 jobs currently, and one of them is for an aftercare program that just so happened to restart their cooking classes. They used to do it before, but we had taken a break, kind of a hiatus from it. And then right when I'm on this fast, they start back the cooking class, and these kids making cinnamon rolls. They making penne pasta, and I love penne pasta with garlic bread. I'm smelling it. I'm just smelling it like, oh my gosh. One day they made a whole soul food meal. So like with baked macaroni and cheese and like chicken tenders and stuff. And
that would have broke me.
It almost did. No, like for real, it almost did. The only thing that kept me, God knew, they put Velveeta in it. I hate Velveeta.
Oh.
That's the only thing that kept me strong, because I really was struggling. And then the kids, they just, Miss Aaliyah, are you gonna eat? Miss Aaliyah, you should eat this. Miss Aaliyah, try it, I made it. And I'm like, I can't, like, sorry. And it's a Christian environment. It's a Christian aftercare, so they know what fasting is, and they were doing their own fast, so they're like, fasting is over. Why are you still fasting? Like, we started eating at 3. Why can't you eat? It's like, no, I can't eat. I just can't eat that. And then one day at work, my coworker, bless her heart, like, she's such a sweetheart, but I swear she's never done this before. But one day she comes and like she was already sitting with me, and then she left, and she came back with 2 cups of hot chocolate, and she puts one in front of me, but I didn't even pay attention to the second cup. I just paid attention to the one that was by me, and I was like, that's kind of odd that she put her cup this close to me. Like, it's kind of a far reach for her, but okay, like, whatever. And then I was like, oh, like, it dawned, like, wait, she has a cup. I was like, why does she have a cup? And then she was like, but it had, like, I don't know, it had been like 10-15 minutes of this cup just sitting there. And then she was like, You have to drink that hot chocolate, by the way, because I went out of my way and did a really great job making that for you. So you have to drink it. And I'm just like, like, oh, about that. Like, I actually can't drink it. And, you know, then their whole struggle of not boasting that you're fasting would come in for me. Because I'm not trying to just, like, look, world, I'm fasting. I'm such a good Christian. Like, no, I wasn't trying to do that at all. But it's like, okay, I'm going to tell you, like, I can't drink this right now. So that was interesting. But I think that overall, it was okay. So to Alan's point about the things that we added, he added, I don't even remember everything that you added. I'll just say what I added. I added no secular TV or entertainment at all, and no social media. So I wasn't on, you know, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, and then like YouTube or anything. I could only watch like Christian YouTubers and like sermons or like Bible studies or whatever, and then like TV. Like I could only watch Christian TV. Christian movies or things like that. So that was what I added, and then you added.
So I did no music of any kind. So I could listen to like podcasts or things like that. I did no social media of any kind, except for, since I do photography as like a side job, I allow myself to post only, but like no scrolling and whatnot, and then look at messages because people will reach out to me for jobs on there, and then as far as like YouTube is concerned, I could watch Christian related videos or photography related videos just for learning purposes. Mm-hmm. I think that was it. That was all the extras.
Yeah, so that on top of it, you know, really just kept my mind on God the whole time and on his word. You know, even reading wise, like I was reading the Bible or Christian books. And I think a lot of questions came up for me during this fast, which I'll probably get into in a different video, but a lot of questions came up and I think it was very edifying for me. I was having more interesting dreams. I'm a dreamer, so I dream a lot, but I was having like literal scriptures come in my dreams, like, look at this scripture. That was really cool. Actually, that was really cool. But yeah, I think it just drew me closer to God. Definitely drew me closer to Alan. I think we even came to terms with some decisions that we had made, going into marriage or being in marriage, that we were like, oh, this is a good goal, this is a good plan, a good idea, but God really allowed us to look at things soberly and with more wisdom, and so we were able to make some more wise decisions about our future and about, you know, plans, and it was more like we leaned more on God making the plans for us versus, you know, the world says have a 5-year goal, and so we made a 5-year goal. But like God may operate in 3 months or in 10 years. And we don't, you know, we'll follow his timeline. So that was really good and really beneficial. And then the other thing was that the last thing, coming out of it, for me, I learned a lot while we were in it. Like, I learned how to make brown rice, which, like, oh my gosh, because I also made white rice after we came off the fast, and it just, it's so much faster. Like, the white rice is like 10-15 minutes. Brown rice is like 30. So, it causes you, it caused me to learn something, and it caused me to be more patient. Because the foods, like, that we were eating, it wasn't a grab and go. Yeah. You had to really make the food, and you had to pack the food, and you had to be intentional about what you were going to eat. And then also, because aren't any preservatives and things like that in vegetables and fruits, it doesn't fill you up and keep you full.
Yeah.
So you have to plan to eat, like I was actually eating 3-4 meals a day.
Yeah.
Right. Which wasn't, no, not me. I'm not that person. Like, I could eat one good meal and be solid, but I had to plan to bring food to work. And yeah, so that was a learning experience. And then just learning God's word more, and then just learning more about just being intentional about the things of God, whether that's being intentional about his word, being intentional about studying, being intentional about hearing his voice, being intentional about my planning of my day and how I carry out my day, being intentional about how I speak to people, being intentional about how I communicate with people. Like, there were so many things I was just like, okay God, like, I hear you. Being intentional about how I operate in my gifts and actually using them. Because I got a little check with that. So yeah, but I think overall, you know, it was definitely learning, a learning experience, and was definitely beneficial for both of us. And also was a learning experience of like just being a supportive wife. And, you know, I think our prayers were stronger.
Yeah.
I think my discernment of how he was doing was stronger. Yeah, it was just all around beneficial. I can't say that there was a distinct con. I mean, you know, like it was hard.
Yeah.
Not saying that it wasn't hard. It definitely was hard, but it wasn't impossible, and came out of it stronger and better in the end. Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else? any other little?
Yeah, I mean, in reading the word more, in being more, listening to more teaching and whatnot again during this month, because of what I could and couldn't listen to and watch, it built up my faith, and I began to lean on God more, trust God more. I also started with my post. A friend of mine had mentioned that they had really liked when I was posting scriptures with my photos, and they were like, I miss when you do that. So I said, let me do this again. And in intentionally reading to relate to my photos, I would I like to do a prayer based on it. So similar to how you have on the Bible app, if you look at the scripture of the day, you scroll through it, then they have this little prayer. I like to read whatever verse that I read and then pray based on that and do my own. So I was like, well, let me post my prayer with it. So each of those prayers also helped me to, one, really know what I was reading, but also connect with God every day intentionally. And yeah, it was just a blessing in leaning on God more and seeking after him. So I feel like I grew from that.
Amen. Pickles, did you grow? Nope, she's still bad.
Pickles developed patience. Pickles had a friend over here for a week. And
did she develop patience?
No, Pickles was
Pickles
a jerk.
was bad. She was a jerk. So pray for Pickles, because she
still needs to be saved.
It's not okay.
She too. Still ain't saved.
Man, age of accountability is coming up. But anyway, yes. So I would encourage anybody who is anybody. No, I would encourage anybody looking for a fast to do the Daniel fast. Now I will say that I did have questions regarding the fast itself, because I was like, how close to Daniel actually is this fast? I still don't think it's close to Daniel, but I can confirm that it did work in the sense of fast. And I honestly think that this fast was more edifying than the fast that I have done in the past. And I've gone off of social media. I've done the whole, no secular TV or YouTube or whatever entertainment. I've done that many times before. But still, there was something about this fast that just really caused me to rely on God differently. And even trust him and know that, like, okay, God, like, I'm doing this so I can get closer to you. I don't believe that you will allow me to get sick at the end of this, or like allow me to lose too much weight where I'm just like not healthy. So yeah, it tested my faith as well in God's ability to sustain and to keep. And so I would definitely recommend this fast. Now, though I'm recommending this fast, am I about to do this fast like multiple times a year? Or like, oh no, not all that. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. I'm not even about to tell that story. Like, yes, I'm about to do the Daniel fast every time I fast. Like, we'll see. But it was definitely beneficial and definitely edifying. And yeah, I'm grateful for this experience with my husband.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, comment down below if you consecrated this month, the month of January. What did you do? How do you feel after your consecration? Have you ever done the Daniel fast? Would you do it again? And remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified of any upcoming videos that I post. And that does it for this video. I love you, and Jesus loves you so much more. And remember, you will never overcome that which is hidden, and you will not conquer what you refuse to confront. Let's break some chains, y'all.
And let's get pickles saved.